Scots have been reminded of some changes to laws and rules that are set to come into force in 2024. There are a few upcoming regulations that people should keep in mind as we head into the new year, some of which have been widely discussed this year, such as pavement parking bans and restrictions on vaping and tobacco products. Also on the cards this year is a new energy price cap being introduced by Ofgem in January, meaning households could end up paying more for their annual energy bills amid the ongoing cost of living crisis. Here is a roundup of the new laws and rules that will affect people in Scotland as we prepare to head into 2024. Ofgem energy price cap. Energy bills are set to soar again in the new year thanks to a new price cap which is set to take hold next month. From January 1, 2024, the price for energy for a typical household who use gas and electricity and pay by direct debit will go up by £94. This will take the price cap from £1,834 to £1,928 per year, according to energy regulator Ofgem. Increase in minimum wages. People eligible for the National Living Wage or National Minimum Wage will see a pay rise from April. The national living wage will rise to £11.44, up from £10.42, the government confirmed. And from April 2024, 21 and 22-year-olds will also get the national living wage. At the moment, the wage only applies to workers aged 23 and over. The national minimum wage, which will now be for 18 to 20-year-olds, will increase by £1.11 to £8.60 per hour. Apprentices will also have their minimum hourly rates boosted, with an 18-year-old in an industry like construction seeing their minimum hourly pay go from £5.28 to £6.40 an hour. Restrictions on vapes and tobacco. In November, the Scottish Government published its tobacco and vaping framework and a roadmap to 2034 designed to create a healthier generation. Flavors and descriptions of e-cigarettes will be restricted so they are not specifically targeted at children. Other planned restrictions include on the sale of disposable vapes and regulating where vapes can be sold. The government also wants to clamp down on tobacco use, creating a so-called smoke-free generation. New measures would see the legal age of sale for tobacco products raised each year to prevent younger generations from ever taking up smoking. Pavement parking ban. Drivers in Scotland could face a £100 fine for parking on the pavement thanks to new legislation that is expected to be more widely adopted in 2024. The rule change came into force earlier this month, with the Transport Scotland Act 2019 bans pavement parking, double parking and parking at dropped curbs. It gives local authorities the relevant powers to enforce these new provisions. At the moment, Edinburgh looks set to be the first council to introduce the ban, which will come into force in January 2024. However, not every council has immediate plans to introduce the ban, and some haven't got the decriminalised parking enforcement (DPE) that's needed to enforce it. National insurance slashed. Millions will see their national insurance contributions cut next year when the government brings in a 2% reduction to rates. The current 12% national insurance rate on earnings between £12,570 and £50,270 will be reduced to 10% from January 6. The measure has been rushed through Parliament to take effect at the start of next year. Meanwhile, self-employed people will see a reduction in their contributions from 9% to 8% on profits over £12,570 from April 6. changes to flexible working staff who have worked for their employer for 26 weeks or more currently have the right to ask if they can work flexibly. But a new change in the law will make this a right that applies from the first day of employment. This is set to come into force in April 2024. More support for carers in April 2024. The Carers Leave Act will come into force, which will give unpaid carers the right to take additional unpaid leave from work to help balance caring responsibilities. An estimated 2.4 million carers across the UK will be able to benefit from this. More tips for service employees from July 2024. Employers will be banned from withholding tips under the Employment Allocation of Tips Act 2023. The bill makes it unlawful for businesses to hold back service charges from their employees, ensuring staff receive the tips they have earned. An estimated £200 million a year will go back into the pockets of staff by keeping tips that would have otherwise been deducted, according to the government. Free childcare changes. Free childcare changes will take effect from April 2024. At the moment, all 3- and 4-year-olds are entitled to 15 hours per week of free childcare, rising to 30 hours for some eligible families, and 15 hours for disadvantaged 2-year-olds. From next spring, working parents of 2-year-olds will be able to access 15 hours of free childcare. Then, from September 2024, 15 hours of free childcare will be extended down to the age of 9 months for working parents. Electric vehicle mandate. Next year, the new Zero Emissions Vehicle (ZEV) mandate comes into force, which will mean big changes for car manufacturers. From 2024 they will need to prove that sales of electric cars make up a certain percentage of all vehicles sold. If not, they face a fine. The requirement starts at 22% in 2024, and increases to 80% by 2030. Fuel duty freeze. Petrol and diesel could get more expensive for drivers in 2024, as the government could potentially be ending the freeze on fuel duty. Fuel duty has been frozen since January 2011 to stop the costs increasing with inflation. The basic rate on diesel and petrol has been 52.95 pence per litre, which includes the 5 ppl cut granted by the government to help with the cost of living crisis. However, this has only been granted until the end of March 2024, so it's likely we will find out the future plans when the spring budget is revealed. Crackdown on drink spiking. Funding for testing kits and training for door staff will form part of a package ministers hope will crack down on spiking in 2024. The measures to tackle spiking, when someone puts drugs into another's drink or directly into their body without their knowledge or consent, come alongside plans to update the law to make clear it is a crime. Ban on supermarket products. Supermarkets could soon be banned from selling products containing palm oil, cocoa, beef, leather and soy that come from land linked to illegal deforestation. New laws have been set out designed to lessen the contribution of consumers to the damage caused on precious habitats and endangered species. The legislation under the Environment Act will ban businesses that have a global turnover of more than £50 million from using commodities sourced from land used illegally. Don't miss the latest news from around Scotland and beyond. Sign up to our daily newsletter.